Hi guys, thank you so much for clicking. I'm Mark and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be continuing on my top 5 series. The first two that I looked at, Marina and Licky Lee, were top 5 based on their whole discography, so from the start of their career up until the present date. But I listened to Rina's album recently and I loved it so much that I wanted to do a top 5 just based on the tracks from that. I know she's got some previous EPs and singles, but I've not listened to those or referred to them for this video, so this is based purely on the album. I have to say, I can't remember another album that's hit me in the way in which this one has. I hadn't heard of her before I downloaded the album. I read a review which was amazing and it sounded like a really interesting project. Downloaded the album blind and thought I'm just going to take it at face value and see where it goes. My goodness, I was not disappointed. An absolutely stellar debut album, and one that sounds like it's from someone that's kind of 3 or 4 albums in rather than it being someone's debut for sure. So without further ado, let's kick off with my top 5. And at number 5 is Dynasty, which obviously was the opening track from the album. Let's give it a listen. Even just the initial instrumentation, it really got me from the word go. And then her voice came in, didn't know what to expect. I have to say, from seeing her picture on the album cover, I didn't necessarily think that she would sound like that. The song kind of creates such anticipation, and then she flips it up into her head voice. And then you're kind of thinking, okay, this has got kind of quite a cool groove to it. Is it going to be like this for the rest of the track? Where are we going? Where are we going? And then the guitars come in and you're kind of thinking, are we now in like a Linkin Park song? Is that where we're going? Just remember my mind being kind of absolutely blown as to what was going on. I think the lyrics on the track are really poignant. You know, passed on through family lines, looking back at what's gone on before and how that's affected who you are now. I do think it's a really clever track to start the album with, because it's kind of saying, this is who I am now, this is where I've come from. And then the middle 8, where it kind of flips it on its head again, it's like a number of different songs that have all been merged together, but it's still got a very cohesive sound throughout. The vocals here are incredible. I mean, she goes so freaking high. I don't know how she gets that high. I tried it myself and I could not get there. Her voice sounds like an instrument. I think the thing is as well is there's lots going on in this song, but it never feels cluttered or overbearing. It feels just right. Okay, so that was Dynasty at number 5. I mean, at the end of that song, the first time I listened to it, I thought, oh my God, what have I let myself into? But it was one of those things where I just wanted to get onto the next track straight away, because it was so full on as a kind of opening track. It started kind of much more genteel and then it built into this thing, and often, you know, the intro track is used to set the tone for the rest of the record, and I just thought to myself, God, if this is what the rest of the record's going to sound like, I really am in for a treat. Okay, so moving on to number 4 now, gone with Chosen Family. I really enjoy the track actually. And I think that songs that try and tackle this type of issue can often come across as kind of contrived or cliche. But the way in which she delivers it with such conviction, it really made me think this is not kind of a studio writing session where someone's presented this to her as a concept and she said, yeah, let's run with it. This really is how she feels about these people that are in her life. I think you can tell from the vocal and the way in which she delivers the song. So I'm going to stop rambling and let's get into the track, Chosen Family. The delivery's got a real kind of narrative feel to it. It is as if she's recounting her own life and kind of is dealing with exchanges that she's had with real people that she's come across. I love how deep her vocal goes there. Her range must be insane in terms of breadth. I think the lyrical content is very straightforward unlike some of the other songs on the album. It's very obvious, but the way in which she conveys the emotion that she feels about this subject matter, you really get it here. It can go so high, but really quite deep in a rich way. In this bit, I think she sounds a little bit like another UK artist who's called Alyssa. Her song was Hearts Don't Lie a couple of years back, I think. There's some similarities in terms of tone. I mean, both beautiful. And I like how this track builds slowly. It takes you on a journey. I think this goes back to the kind of narrative theme that I was talking about before. I love this middle eight as well, where it's kind of like stripped back. I love that we get a chorus without kind of any real background music. It just shows off how beautiful her voice is. You can really feel it. And then she hits it with a massive note now, which again just demonstrates what an insane singer she is. I'm not sure whether she's got any tours coming up, I mean, given the current situation, but I would love to see her live. Really love to see her live. I think as well the contrast of how kind of intricate the production is on some of the other songs, the fact that this one is so stripped back, for me it really works, really works. Okay, so at number 4, that was Chosen Family. And number 5 is the track that immediately follows it on the album, Snakeskin. I thought the kind of juxtaposition in terms of tone and melody and approach between the two songs was really smart, and you would never expect the last song on the album to be such an intense song. And it's the way in which Snakeskin starts. You kind of think, okay, is this going to be a more mellow song where, you know, there's greater emphasis on her vocals in a kind of stripped down way? And then it just goes somewhere completely else and becomes this kind of frenetic song, really intense. And by the end of the song, you kind of walk away and you think that you've kind of been hit by a bus or something because it's so impactful. But I really enjoy that aspect of it. I think some albums, you know, the obvious thing to finish with would be Chosen Family. And then you'd kind of go away and you'd be feeling emotional, and it would be a very neat way in which to end the album. But I love that she had the balls to be like, no, that's not happening. I'm going to end with something much more off the wall. And so there comes Snakeskin. So let's give it a listen. Again, the depth of her voice, the control, and the vibrato in her voice, it's very controlled, very beautiful, and the breathiness on the vocal as well. The first time I heard this, I was like, oh my god, it was like porn to my ears. That melody, it just kind of sucked me straight into it. And then when it starts building and you've got the background vocals going in, the instrumentals building, you're kind of thinking, I was not expecting this for a last track on an album. I mean, in terms of the lyrical content as well, very powerful track to finish with. She's shedding her snakeskin, she's moving on. And you're kind of thinking here, where's it going to go? And then she brings it right down. It's kind of very basic. You've got the bells in the background with just the kind of percussion going. And then it's like, now where are we going? It's something much darker, definitely in contrast to Chosen Family. I think this is one of the ones that you can really imagine dancing to out in a club. I don't know what kind of club would play this song, but I mean, whichever one it is, I would be there. And then this bit at the end, it's kind of, the outro is very, it reminds me of like a scene from a movie where it's like, maybe like an old black and white movie where there's like a dance class and there's a dance master and it's towards the end of the session. I don't know, that was the visual imagery that I got. I like how, rather than finishing the song very abruptly, there is this outro that kind of sends you out. Okay, so we're at track 2 now, and track 2 for me is Excess. First time I heard this song, I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who she was, what she was all about. I thought it was basically like a mashup between a System of a Down song with like Britney, that they'd taken Britney hostage or something and then they'd like made a song together. That's kind of how it sounded to me. And I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, I really don't know what to make of this song because there was just so much going on. It really blew my mind. But now that I've listened to it consistently over the last couple of weeks, it's a definite favourite. The video's amazing. It really works with the song. And I think, you know, such a huge song, you really need to go like balls out with it. And that's definitely what she's done. So let's get into Excess. Just this beginning bit, you've got no idea what she's going to throw at you in the next 3 minutes. It's this bit, as soon as she says, you're like, what? And then you're kind of like, where's this come from? Kind of was giving me like Britney Toxic or Rachel Stevens' Sweet Dreams My LAX kind of vibes. I think Kathy Dennis wrote both of those, if I'm right. But it just gets you kind of like grooving straight away. Oh me, oh my. The refrain, the kind of oh me, oh my bit, super, super catchy. I mean, obvious why they went for it as a single. But then you've got the kind of crashing, crunching guitars that come in that like really make you sit up. I think this is one of those ones that instinctively it's a super catchy song, but there's that bit to it, that rawness, that difference where you're like, do I like it? Do I hate it? I don't know. Beautiful kind of pop-like vocals here. It just goes to show the range of songs that she can absolutely nail. I think the thing that I loved about this so much is it's so different to anything out there, and it's really her setting her agenda absolutely on her own terms, creating her own sound, and if you hear this on the radio, you know it's her straight away. It's another great middle eight, actually. I think throughout the whole course of the album, the middle eights on the songs are really, really great, particularly this bit. It kind of, there's a real nostalgic feel to it, even like on some of the vocal licks, like that one, you could have been back in like the 90s, the noughties, kind of Destiny's Child action. Actually now listening to it, there's a kind of little bit of Lose My Breath to it as well. I mean, none of these comparisons are bad things because those songs are all amazing. It's such a well-produced song as well. I think it has to be in order to make those various elements work together. Okay, so that was Excess, which was our number 2. And at number 1 for me, I think this will be different to a lot of people because I think this is one of the tracks that people aren't so crazy about. But for me, I absolutely love it. And it's Who's Gonna Save You Now. It really gave me kind of Christina Aguilera Fighter vibes. And I think that's probably in like my top 3 songs ever. So for there to be a song which isn't imitating that, but is doing it on its own terms and is sounding incredible, that means it's like up there straight away. And I think in terms of her vocal delivery, it's like you've got Christina Aguilera and Lady Gaga in a room and they're having a vocal battle with each other, but Rina is having a vocal battle with herself throughout the course of the song. It's like the range, the riffs, the vocal delivery is amazing, and if I ever get to see her live, this will be the song that I'm absolutely desperate for her to perform, because if she delivers vocally even half as well live as she does on this track, it's going to absolutely blow my mind. So without further ado, here's my number 1 in my top 5, which is Who's Gonna Save You Now. Love the way it builds as well, and I love how it switches from the interlude before it on the album. The sequencing of the whole album I think is brilliant, and she absolutely owns the track from the very beginning. The attitude, the spunk, the delivery, spot on. Brilliant bridge, really good. Love that line, wish you well, take it somewhere else. I love the fact as well it sounds like it's live already. I'm sure huge amounts of production had to go into this song, but the fact it's got that kind of rawness to it as well, something I really enjoy. This will definitely be one for me where it's like I'm getting ready to go out for a big night on town this will be one of my songs to get ready to, without doubt. Another brilliant middle eight. This run, amazing. Rina's coming for you, Christina. And I love this bit as well. This is really unexpected. You don't know where it's going to go. Then there's the key change, and you're like, where am I going now? This bit as well. So much personality coming through on this track. Who's gonna save you now? Okay guys, well, that is my top 5 reaction to Rina Sawayama's debut album. Thank you so much for watching. Do let me know if you've got any comments on my top 5 in the comment section below. If you could like and subscribe as well, that would be absolutely amazing. And if you've got any recommendations for other albums that you'd like me to listen and react to, then please also let me know in the comments. Alright, that's all for now, guys. Keep safe, and I will see you on my next video.